Hi guys, Omar with Overlanding Just Cause, and in this video, well, let me rewind 3 weeks. I need to get this tire out of the garage and added onto the GX. So I'm gonna put it on the roof rack. Now, the way I started, I took 2 of the roof rails off and I measured distance between 2, and I ended up getting this little tire holder off of Amazon. I'll show you a picture. And what it came with was a plate at the bottom that I ended up bolting on to the bottom of the rails. And then it comes with another piece that you put over it and you kind of sandwich it in. But first, what's cool about this modular roof rack is that I can space out the roof rails accordingly. And that's what I ended up having to do. I had to push the second to last and the third to last a little bit more spaced out so I could put this plate in between. And that's what you see me doing here. If you notice, the bolts are super long, so I ended up having to, well, I didn't have to, because when I put it back on the roof rack, the bolts didn't push and touch the top of the roof, but I didn't want to take any chances once I put the tire on there. One thing I did make sure of is that once I did cut those bolts, that I was still able to screw and unscrew the nut. And I was. Now here, you see me weigh myself. I'm a solid 190 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. And then this is me standing with the tire. It's 272 pounds altogether. There you go, an 82 pound tire. So I put it up there. I center it on that plate. You notice I have the eye bolts already on there. And then there's the little hook. There's the plate cover. I screwed the top on. And a little lock comes with it so sticky fingers can't steal my tire. And that's all it is. It's a little simple contraption. You can see the lock there. It's a cheap lock, but at least it'll slow someone down. And that's the number, or the first way, I guess, of securing it. And then I put the tire cover on. One thing from watching online is that you want to protect the tire on top of the roof because obviously the sun's beating down on it. So I got that tire cover, and I'm sure the longer I keep that wheel up there, I'll have to go through a couple different tire covers just because it'll fade it, it'll start tearing, the wind, all that good stuff. Now you see me also strapping it on with using the eye bolts. So now this is my second way of securing it. The biggest thing I wanted to alleviate is that tire budging. God forbid something were to happen and I hit something head on, it would have to take my whole roof with it for that tire to come off, or at least the whole roof rack. This is just a cool shot that I left in. Anyway, so once I got the tire secure on there 2 ways, I started on the roof rack light. This is a 40-inch light bar from Hella Lights. I chose this light because I didn't want to spend $1,000 on any kind of Baja or rigid lights. 40 inches is a hard length to find. A lot of the aux beams are either 42 or 38. I didn't find anything that was 40 inches. And this Hella light that I found on Amazon was exactly 40 inches. And man, does it fit perfectly. Let me show you. This right here, this is an L-shaped bracket that I got from Lowe's. And that's all it is. This isn't any kind of special light bracket. L-shaped steel bracket that's already powder coated. And I just put the screws that it came with. The other thing that I've changed since is, you can't really see it, but this light was pretty much touching the metal wind visor. So what I ended up doing was buying a door seal, and it's just rubber with double-sided tape or 3M tape, and boom, it's nice and tight on it. And what I'm trying to alleviate there is just maybe bouncing and hitting metal on metal. So I wanted some type of barrier. I'm trying to get a good angle, and there you go. You see where my fingertip is? That's going all the way across the light. After I kind of mounted it how I wanted, I started with the wiring. I had to extend the wire, and then the last thing that I did is I hid the wire. So I got just regular wire hider, and I got it in black and cut it to length. The only issue that you have to watch out for is you need to make sure that the windshield wiper can still be used freely. The first time I ended up putting it on there, I didn't think about the windshield wiper, and when I started it one day after it rained, it was hitting it. So I had to take it off, cut a little bit more, and then try it again, and I was fine. But you have to clear the windshield wiper. The next step in the project after the lights and wiring it all up, making it work, was the Pelican cases. Now, I bought these 2 Pelican cases off of Amazon. I'll leave the description below. The reason why I went with Pelican was because I found it super cheap on Amazon. They were having a sale, and I really wanted some Rome cases. But then if I got the Rome cases, I couldn't see myself drilling holes. So I saw myself buying the brackets that come with the Rome cases, and that's another $200 and something. And again, overall it would have been super expensive. So I went with these 2 Pelican cases. They were brand new, they were on Amazon, but they were on sale, and I ended up drilling. And because I drilled on the Jeep Commander, the cases that are on the Jeep Commander, I kind of got better at it. Imagine that. So I didn't make the mistakes that I made when I was drilling in the boxes of the Jeep Commander. These were done a little bit smoother, better measurements, and siliconed, rubber washers, then metal washers, and then the nuts. The problem with this, again, is that all the bolts that I got for this roof rack, they're really long. And I'm kind of glad that I did that because I didn't know the length. I can always cut it off, but I did not cut these like I did the ones on the tire mount that you saw earlier in the video. Okay, now that was 3 weeks ago. So after testing it out, making sure everything was good to go with the roof rack itself, and doing the water test, having it rain and checking it out, then I mounted everything. And again, 3 weeks later, it's held up nicely. I think it looks great, and that's what we have. We have the low profile light. You can see it's just barely going over the top of the roof rack. It's pretty much in line with the rails, maybe a tad bit higher. And then you have the Pelican cases themselves. Now, I'm glad I went with this size. I didn't want it much higher, not like the big Pelican case on the Jeep Commander. I still wanted it low. I like the fact that the tire's the biggest thing up there. Now, a couple things. Number one, why did I put boxes? I told myself that I wanted to build this a little bit different than the Commander, and I started off that way. Number one, I had a lot of gear back here. For the air compressor, I had the hose, I had my tire repair kit. I had it all in a bag, and it was organized, except every time I drove, all I heard was it would slide all over the place. So then I strapped it down with some bungee cords, and I don't know, I didn't like it. I like the fact that this is now open. If I bring the dogs, that's what this area is here for. And when I did bring the dogs, I would have to take that bag and put it in the cab. I decided to go with the boxes, and I mean, I think it looks great and they serve a purpose. Now, let's talk about this tire. Here were my options. I couldn't fit it underneath the vehicle, OEM style. The tire's too big. Second option was getting a trail, a hitch mount. And DirtCom is the Ultra Trail, is the one that I was really looking at. Well, with all the little bells and whistles that I wanted, it was $1,900. For another $1,000, for almost $3,000, I could have got the whole steel rear bumper like I have on the Commander, with a tire swing out, probably a dual tire swing out, all that stuff for $3,000. Two things. Number one, I didn't have that money to spend. Number two, I didn't want to put another 220, 30, 40, 50 pounds on the back of the GX. The tire alone, like I mentioned earlier, 82 pounds. I have two ways of securing it. I have the plate that sandwiches it against the roof rack, and then I have the straps. I think that's pretty good. Again, I've been driving it for 3 weeks. I even took it off-roading, and no movement, no budging. That thing is on there solid. So I'm really impressed with it. My miles per gallon have gone down from 15.1 to, actually no, that's a lie, from 14.9 to 14.8. As far as wind noise, I do not hear any wind noise from the roof rack when I was driving it alone. I don't hear any wind noise from the lights, from anything up here. What else are people going to say? And sure, if God forbid I get into a horrible accident, that's going to be 82 pounds of missile probably coming towards someone, but hopefully that's not the case. The other option for a tire holder is, I really like the JW off-road dual swing out. It's not a bumper, it's a bolt-on that goes one on this side. It connects in the center, and you can do a dual swing, so you can have another one bolted on here. That is, I think, close to 2,000, but it saves a lot of weight. Just the dual swing out, the JW off-road dual swing out, I want to say was like 90 pounds. And it would hold the tire, would hold, you know, gas cans, water, whatever, however I wanted to mount it. The problem with that is it's been sold out for the last 8 months that I've been looking. And that tire has been in this garage for almost 2 years. And when I've gone, you know, taken the trailer and we've gone, you know, camping, overlanding, I've taken it off-roading, I'm always nervous that I might need that. Now, I know I have the tire repair kit. I know I have onboard air compressor. In a perfect world, I'd be able to fix whatever happens to the tire. But it's not always that perfect scenario where I can use the tire patch and air it back up. So I'm glad now that I have that up there. It's good peace of mind that, yes, if I need it, I have it. All right, guys, so that's the end of the video. If you have any questions on the roof rack accessories and everything that I mounted on there, or anything on the tire mounts and the straps and all that good stuff, leave them in the comments. I will answer any questions that you guys have. And if you like, subscribe. Hey, I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.